Okay, the whirlwind of the season we're well in the middle of it here, and really felt like we had a really nice win on Saturday against Cal Poly. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see some guys get some opportunities to play. It was good to see us make some plays and force some turnovers, do some really good stuff. But, no time to really celebrate that. We got to get ready for the, returning MAC champions. Very, very good football team. We're going on the road to their place, which is a hard place to play. And so it's just an incredibly challenging ball game for our football team. So that's where our focus has been. They've got great personnel. They're very well coached. Coaching staff has been there a long time. Those guys do a great job. So, like I said, big challenge for us, and we're hard at work trying to find a way to play good defense and offense and kicking games. So what do you got for me?
Good afternoon, Coach.
What's up?
Coach, you kind of mentioned it. Jason Candles had been at Toledo for 14 years, bunch of bowl games. I mean, for you personally, how do you kind of prepare to go up against a coaching staff with that type of experience?
Well, I'd say coaching staffs with that type of experience are unicorns in our profession these days, right? There's just so much turnover, with that. And so, the one thing that for sure is that they're going to know exactly how it works there and what they need to do to be competitive there. And they've been outstanding in his time there. So I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years. He seems like a really, really good guy. He's obviously an outstanding coach. You don't get to stay somewhere for that long if you're not very, very good. And then the results speak for themselves on the field with what they've been able to do over time. So a ton of respect for them. And, for us, we're worrying about our stuff here, trying to figure out, what we need to do better and what we're good at, what we're not, and what we can fix in this practice time as we lead up to the game.
Good afternoon, Coach. Saturday, first win of the season. You had the most points in your coaching career here, scored. How do you guys plan to carry that momentum going into Toledo on Saturday?
Well, I think it's just a very different thing. Hopefully that, hopefully our guys get a little bit of confidence because, we played some good football on Saturday. And, I think that's one of the hard things about the first two games is that there were stretches of good football there, but just obviously not enough against two really good opponents. And so, the playing well against Cal Poly and in a home game, that was great. But this is a much different thing, right? We're traveling 3 time zones. We're playing a 7 o'clock kick out there. So it's just a much different experience altogether. So this is going to, like I said at the beginning of the press conference, this is going to be an incredible challenge for us. And we're excited to play, as we get going here with our practice. And we had a good day today. And so, that's kind of where our focus is on us and how we handle that part of it.
And then when did you realize Jaime Navarro was just one interesting guy?
When we recruited him. Yeah. When we recruited him, I went to go visit him. It was his, I went to home visit the family. So this would have been December of 18. Is that right? Or maybe December 17 maybe?
I think class of 2018.
Oh my gosh, it's a long time ago. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so when I got there, Jaime was wearing shorts and a tank top and a cowboy hat, and he had his big long hair. His hair was even longer than it is now, and cowboy boots with shorts, and I was like, this guy's a riot, and just this huge, massive personality. When you walked across campus with Jaime Navarro, he said hi to everyone, and everyone said hi to him. Every person you saw. What's up, Jaime? Hey, how you doing? Like, it was just, he had this incredible charisma. It was really, really cool. So I knew I knew right away. Because I had talked to him on the phone, but I had not seen him face to face yet, right? And so when I did, I had this picture of cowboy hat, long hair, tank top, shorts, and cowboy boots.
And then just kind of a two-parter, but talk about from where you guys were from seeing him with cowboy boots to where he's at now, kind of being the captain of just the team.
No, it's awesome. I think that's what you want for the players that, are in your program for a long time. You want to see them grow and mature and, finish school and develop into good players and good people. And, that's been really special with Jaime and watching him grow over time. And just like, I think there's this misconception out there that, like, being a college football player is like some easy, just rainbows and ice cream all day. And it's not like that. It's hard, and And there's been ups and downs for Jaime, and he played a little bit as a freshman, and obviously he's played a lot since then. And so he's been kind of one of those guys who's just been a consistent influence on our team. He's got this great personality. He's got this great energy that people want to be around. And in that way, he's become a really good leader for us, too, which has been cool to see.
You often talk about programs that you want your program to be like, and you look at Toledo and like I think 12 MAC conference championships, I think 15 overall. And
Yeah.
what are the kind of like the elements and besides the coaches and the facilities, or what does it take to do that? You know.
You know, I think one thing that seems to be a consistency seems to be a consistent thing with those programs that have sustainability is consistency of leadership. You know, whether that's their head coach and the assistant coaches or the administration and all those things, and it's really impressive to see what they've done there, right? And in my memory, like they've always been good, even before Coach Candle. Like they've always been good, right? And so that's something that's really, you know, just speaks to the tradition and the history of the program, but then also the people that are in charge knowing exactly who they are, recruiting to their scheme, recruiting to their situation, knowing what players are going to fit in their campus and in their program. I think they just do an exceptional job at that. And, you know, that high level sustainability, that kind of consistency is something we're chasing here.
Special teams group has been pretty consistent throughout the first 3 games, I mean, aside from the 96-yard touchdown at USC. I guess from just a general standpoint, I mean, how important is it to have a good special teams performance, and what can a good special team or a bad special team performance do to shift the momentum of a game?
Well, I think that's the special teams is such an important part of what we do, and you know, there a long time ago, I was a special teams coordinator, and just having had that experience and having see how it impacts field position and the flow of a game or a feel of a game, you know, because even the USC game to me felt like a football game until the kick return, right? And then it kind of felt like it blew open, and that was it. Yeah, so that's a critical thing for us. You know, I think Coach White does a fantastic job coaching that for us, and the players have done a really good job. You know, like it's such an interesting thing when you're in that chair because you're working with a bunch of young men. A lot of them aren't used to understanding the impact of the special teams. Like, it's just not a huge focus of a lot of college, high school programs. Like, yeah, yes, I get it. Like the best ones, yes, like put time in that, but a lot of them don't. They either don't have enough coaches, they don't have enough time, whatever it is, you know. And so when they get there, when they get to college, there's definitely a huge learning curve about how important that is. And we talk about it all the time here for our players, that if you want to be an NFL player and you think you're an NFL player, you better have some value in the kicking game that they can see on tape as they're evaluating your college performance, you know, or your college, you know, history. Because if you don't, it's really hard for them to say, like, well, I'm going to take a risk on this kid, and I don't know what kind of value he has in the special teams, because those rosters in the NFL get so tight, right? If you're not a first-round draft pick or a full-time starter, your only chance to make that roster is in the kicking game. And so, and then I also think the kicking game is a great training ground for just normal football, right? It's blocking, tackling, playing in space, catching the ball, carrying the ball, you know, so it's just like, I think it's just awesome, you know, part of the game that is really, really important to us.
Very successful running game on Saturday with Kyrie Robinson. How nice is it to have him back, and how important is it to have him for Saturday's game as well?
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie's another guy, you know, he's kind of in the Jaime department. He's been here forever, and he's played a ton of football for us. Obviously, it's awesome. He's a local player, played at De La Salle High School. And so, you know, like his experience and his confidence is so important in the huddle and on the sideline and in the locker room because of all the football he's played for us and just who he is. And so, you know, having him back and having him have a good day on Saturday was great. And, you know, that's something we're looking for. We're looking for some more consistency in the run game, you know, from him and from Quali, you know, who also did a nice job running the ball on Saturday. So, you know, we combine those things with our O-line and our tight ends and, you know, how all those pieces fit together. That's a really, really important thing for us.
So do you think Saturday will offer you guys just a better idea of the identity of this team?
You know, I think you figure that out as you play, you know, so sure. You know, whether it's just one opponent or not, I don't, you know, think the identity of your team kind of grows and builds as the season goes on. But really, we're just trying to get a first down and trying to play good defense and play good in the special teams. So like I don't ever go into a game thinking about identity. You know what I mean? I don't. I think that's kind of gets defined by how we play.
In terms of offensive play balance, run and pass, or is there going in consciously, you always want to be balanced, like not one-dimensional, or is it kind of real-time what they give you? Or?
It's funny. I think everyone says that, that they want to be balanced.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's how it ends up. I think you end up like leaning towards what you're good at. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely, those two things play off each other. It's easier to run the ball if you throw it well. It's easier to throw it if you run it well. So you absolutely have to have both things. But I also watched Mike Leach win hundreds of games, throwing it every play. So, I think you just lean on what you're good at and kind of what the talent of your team dictates, and then you try and build a plan from there.
And then how important is this game when it comes to having momentum, especially like in the physicality department, with just such a brutal Mountain West slate up ahead?
Yeah, I think it's critical that way. I think it's going to, like, we know, like, playing Toledo, we're going to play a super well-coached team. We're going to play a team that is very tough, that is physical, that plays hard, like all those things. They have talent that can make plays. Like, we know we're playing an excellent football team on the road. So it's a really important game for us because it's the next one we get to play, and it's, we're going into conference also. And so, as you look at it, right, we were fortunate enough to get a Friday game against Air Force coming out of Toledo, so that, we're going to have to come back and turn around and get ready to go for another super physical, way different scheme, game. And so, like, really, we're just worried about this one and that playing good football on Saturday night in Toledo, Ohio. Like the conference and all that stuff, we'll worry about that when we get there. But it's, now that we're into it, and we knew when we looked at the first, 6 weeks of this season, we knew it was really tough. Like I would argue the toughest in college football. When you think about 2 short weeks, 2 top 20 teams, a triple option team, like there's just a bunch of stuff. A road game at Boise, right? There's like a lot of real stuff in there.
Talked about on Saturday about how you guys play another elite quarterback, DeQuan Finn.
This guy's amazing, dude. This guy's fantastic. Yeah, this guy's awesome. He reminds me a lot of the guy we played week 1. Probably not with the same, fanfare and accolades that the quarterback at USC gets, but this guy's an awesome player. He can make every throw. He runs around like he's, when he has to, he uses his legs. He uses his legs to get himself out of trouble, and he uses his legs. They use his legs as a weapon. So he's a fantastic player. And you don't win the conference with a bad quarterback, right? Like this guy is a stud, and we know that.
Saturday's game will be one of the furthest, if not the furthest, you have to travel for a game this season. Can you talk about the effects that kind of has or effect that has on a player, and how, like, as a coach, how it is being so far away from home?
I don't know that you think about it like in terms of like being far from home, because like last year we went to Auburn, Alabama, and we went to Hawaii, so like, can you go further? I
was just wondering like how, what kind of effect that it has on the players to the travel.
Yeah, I think the travel plays a lot into it, right? Because just the time change, you're going, a couple time zones away, and so you have to get used to that. We get there, I don't know what time we get there, but then they're. You're trying to get them to go to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and it's really 8 o'clock for them, and they're not really tired, and so you're just kind of trying to deal with all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we have a road game in Toledo, Ohio, and we got to get ready to play, and then we need to go play. And so, whatever it is that, the people travel across the country to play games all the time. It's just part of it.
Any more questions for Coach?
There's usually a lot to be said about maturity and experience in the team, and then last week you see a lot of this youthful energy, and people seem to be scared of that. But is there a blend of that you want to get this unbridled youthful energy? It's just
I mean, I don't think we can accomplish anything worthwhile if we don't have great energy. It doesn't matter if it's old energy or young energy or everything in between. You know, what we're working through right now is we're working through, you know, we have some older guys that have played a lot of football, and then we have a lot of youth and a lot of middle and a lot of young, right, that are on the field and playing some of their first football and learning as they play. And so when you're young and you're going through that, there's, you know, some good lessons and some really hard lessons. But, you know, I think if we bring the right energy and enthusiasm to the practice environment and to game day, like that gives us a better chance to be where we want to be, because there's going to be adversity. You're going to get knocked down, or they're going to make a play. And if you don't have the energy to pour into that moment, the energy to rally from that frustration or that, you know, that adversity, right, then it's going to just go the other way. It's going to get away from you, you know, like, so I think like that part of it, you know, trying to find, you know, the right balance of that for our young people where their energy is not a distraction, you know, but also making sure that our energy level is high, because what we're trying to do is, you know, this is going to take our best effort. This is going to take our absolute best effort going out there to Toledo, and we know that.